Yes.
You seen my,
Holiday
did
schedules?
Dorit know the request for time off without pay for the person in my office?
Yes.
Did Dorit tell you what's going on?
No. I mean, I know who it is.
I'd been in Ottawa before.
We're live from Morgan
Told her
County.
where to go, and she told me I was wrong.
Brian, sing something, see if Deb can hear you.
Lady in red.
He's on.
right.
He's
I'm gonna call
live.
this thing to order.
Okay, there it goes. Okay.
It's live.
Ann, yeah, Ann got it.
You would all stand for Pledge of Allegiance and prayer, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you please bow your heads, please? Our gracious Heavenly Father, we can never thank you enough for just all them simple things that we just take for granted, like being able to have food and water, have shelter. There's so many others out there that don't even have it, Lord, and we just thank you for all that. We thank you and ask for your guidance and direction in all that we do tonight, that it's not only pleasing for the taxpayers, but also for you. We ask it all in Jesus' precious name, our Lord and Savior. Amen. May 27th minutes and June 6th minutes. Is there any?
June.
27th was a joint meeting.
Yep.
I'll move to approve both of them.
Got a motion by Mr. Adams to approve both of them. I'll second the motion. Any further questions from the board or from the audience? Not hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Just want to acknowledge that we did receive the clerk's report, and I'm so sorry, but Dree, come on up, little lady. I forgot about, I got it even marked on my schedule, and I still just went on down in order, so.
And you got called little lady, so, you know.
What more can you ask for?
Hey,
I am sorry.
we like it sometimes. It's okay.
I
I'm
had a
trying.
request that was sent to me by department head for a employee to request time off. And just as a reminder, what we are no longer doing is we are no longer allowing employees to donate time. And this would be for unpaid days for medical reasons only. And we are hoping it won't be needed, but there's a possibility that it might. And I believe the last time the commissioners voted on an instance like this, they allowed the supervisor to be able to approve or disapprove the time.
Any questions, concerns for Dree?
Nope, just, I'm louder than you are. I don't know, Deb, is there a way to get that mic out there to kick in?
Okay. Did you have questions, Commissioner Adams?
No,
Okay.
how can I be louder than you?
Okay.
If not, I'd entertain a motion on this.
Per the handbook, I want to be a giving employer, but it gets to the point where the employee can no longer, and it becomes a burden on the other employees
Correct.
and the department head. So eventually, the line has to be drawn in the sand that says, this position is essential, or we can budget the position out.
Are we past an FMLA here, like they've already used,
We are past an FMLA within the 12-year period,
or
yes.
the 12-month?
Yes.
Okay.
There's just a few hours that could be left on an FMLA claim that have not been used yet, but they have not been applied for.
It expired, though. The FMLA that was there had expired, correct?
Correct.
But there was still like 3.5 days
Correct.
left, but that would have to be a new event.
Right.
Okay.
The handbook does state that the commissioners can approve up to 10 days unpaid. That's something we are working on getting changed, but we are not there yet.
So who does the positions work during those 10 days?
Their other employees in the office would have to pick up the slack.
And with
If-
Senate Enrolled Act 1 passing, why don't we just, if the slack can be picked up, why do we need the position?
Well, sometimes.
And that's a council decision,
That is a
but
council
I'm playing devil's advocate
But
here.
sometimes Slack can be picked up temporarily as compared to permanently. I don't know the position, and we're not inclined
No,
to
no,
discuss
and
that
I
here.
don't, I'm just painting with a roller, not a fine hand brush. Two things, in my opinion. I don't have a problem with the 10-day because that is in our handbook and we've not updated it. But two, I still think it should be back to the discretion of the department head because they have, or the elected official in that department because they are ultimately responsible for running that office.
Correct.
And
I
that would
agree
be
with that.
in a form of a motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Collier to go ahead and leave it up to the department head, Dan, it sounds like.
Or,
Ask a question before you vote?
Yes, you may.
Say for medical reasons only?
Yes. The way it's structured in our handbook right now, it is in this medical section, and it is for medical reasons only. And the department head is well within their rights to ask for a doctor's note for the time that is off, because that's in there more than once as well.
Well, I mean, you start getting into, I got to get to 7 a.m. tomorrow morning to have my time in for a career at a firehouse, but I need to go 4 more years, so I just asked for 4 years off and keep my insurance and keep my pension going and keep everything going for 4 years and not really even worry about the paycheck because I just really need the health insurance. So, I mean, there's got to be some rules and there's got to be, and then that leaves my shift short. So that doesn't help them at all. And they can't pick up the slack because they need the manpower. So eventually, it needs medical, it needs a doctor's note, and 10 days is more than enough, and then we'll have to go from there. Then we'll have to get legal counsel if we have to go further than that. Would you agree?
Are you looking at your lawyer or your?
Yeah, I'm looking at,
Yes, yes, yes.
okay. Then I stand by my motion.
I don't have a problem with it myself just because it's an elected official. If it's appointed one of our multiple 10 appointed positions, then I would. But as far as elected, I mean, they was elected to run that office.
No. You're talking about an elected official or a department head can make the decision. This is not an elected official that's asking for the time off.
I know it's not an elected
Oh, okay.
official, but it's an elected official being, the department head that's in this department. That's what I'm saying. Because we got like 11, 12 appointed department heads. And I
Right.
think that needs to come back to us still. But I think the elected department heads, they ought to be able to make that decision.
And I don't have a problem with each and every one coming back to us and then throwing it back to them, and that should be the general rule until, and here becomes another problem that I see coming down. As the department head, that's Don Adams's cousin, because if anybody's come to any of these meetings knows he's related to everybody in this county. So I don't want to be the bad guy. I want the commissioners to make that decision.
Well, in the past, we have treated department heads and elected officials in everything to do with their department in the handbook the same. So that would be treated the same. And in this case, that anonymous department head, elected official, would be asking for medical proof.
And I'm okay with that. And then Kenny, we just need to make it a point for our appointees
Yeah.
Correct.
that they,
Yep. I agree.
before you do this, you come and talk to us.
Yeah, I agree. I'll second the motion. Any further questions from the board or the audience? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Motion carries 3-0. And thank you, Dre, unless you have
Thank
something
you.
else.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Batteries dead? Is there another one?
Keith's
Batteries are dead. You say the, what is, because I didn't,
We did an addendum to the PEI. Is that what we're talking about? Yeah, we did an addendum to that.
for the fuel tank. Yeah, I knew that. And you need both of them done and approved, or just the addendum? I read over both of them. I thought we had done this, but I wasn't positive.
Had two.
Oh, Keith, what would I do without you?
You're approving it now that they've incorporated the addendum.
Oh, no. When you're done, I'm done.
Started right. More information. Not too far. I think it's like 6 or 7, page 6 or 7. Yeah, do this next one.
Apparently from the size of the crowd, there's no rezoning tonight. There is?
One,
It must not be very controversial.
That's not what I'm talking about.
ag to residential.
We're not moving the courthouse. We're not getting rid of parking. Yeah.
Document is missing Exhibit A. E-verify other items specified by Ann. Do you have that in your packet?
No, that's all I got for that. Them two right there. That's all I got.
Where's Eddie?
Are we ready for the next thing?
We're almost. Eddie's not here, Justin. You want to bypass it and come back to it?
Hold on. With Exhibit A and
I do have to be back at the firehouse by 8, or it'd be ironic that I get that going my last day. Yeah, no, I'm well aware of that. They care less. The young kids could step up and lead.
right here. I don't think you guys have the right copy in your packet. Okay, Deb,
I'm sorry again. I've been nitpicky with her all afternoon. You're
on the
good.
PEI. I have an updated one in my inbox. I did not realize I was the only one that had it. I thought everyone had it. I do have a copy that includes the Exhibit A.
Okay.
I think we should approve it and then just have the commissioners sign that, because that was the only thing that was missing. Yeah, so it has the E-Verify, the
Exhibit A is not in it.
all the non-discrimination, all the language that, they've incorporated that in the version that I'm sending to you, so we'll have them approve that version.
Do you gentlemen have a problem with PEI maintenance contracting on the fuel islands out at the highway department? And it's just gonna be the attachment that we did not receive. You got the amendment, and you got the original agreement that we passed, but you did not get the addendum.
I can assure this
For the fuel
board,
tanks?
I
We're
can-
still messing with the fuel tanks?
Yes, and that's
But-
why she's,
They were done.
I thought we were done too, but then we approved it subject to them adding our Exhibit A. They have now added our Exhibit A, and,
Yes, let's get that project done.
I thought you might want to.
need a motion to approve Exhibit A with the contract for PEI maintenance and contracting, please.
That Exhibit A is with Ann,
She's got a copy of it.
is I,
Yes.
We didn't get a copy
They,
of it.
for the record, it is Addendum 6 to the revised contract.
and she's reviewed it, so.
I have, it's
go
my
ahead.
language, it's got non-appropriation,
We don't have
E-Verify.
it. Okay.
We got a motion by Mr. Adams to go ahead and approve it. I'll second it. Any further questions for the board on this addendum for the PEI contract from the board or from the audience? Not hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries 3-0. Opioids.
Department here, I think, or the
Yeah,
opioid.
she's here.
Barnes and Thornburg, the engagement letter on that's next.
What about the opioid settlement?
Opioid.
I thought you said we was good with
Is
that.
that with,
Oh, no, I'm fine with, I was letting you know, I'm fine with it, I've reviewed it.
Okay. I'm sorry, I thought she was fine with it, and was passed, I thought we'd already passed it, sorry about
So,
that. I
This is
swore we did.
different, so what you did before is you authorized certain distributions from that.
Yes,
But what's in your packet is a template to be used for the grantees to sign.
okay.
It's a different step.
And they want to send one for the Willow Center, but they will have that by DocuSign. They'll fill in the blanks on the
But right now, we're approving a template that they can use for the individual grantees to sign pursuant to that agreement.
Brian Collier makes a motion that we accept the opioid settlement grant agreement template.
Got a first, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Adams. Any further questions from the board or from the audience? Not hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Trish, you might look on page 5 of the first agreement in the pack. You need to have number, it goes all the way down to number 12, and then it jumps back to 8. And then on the second one, and then it goes to 14, it just skips it. The next,
Yeah,
yes.
that's not
The-
Trish.
Oh, that's not you. I also corrected that. Oh, you already corrected that, thank you. I thought I talked to you, but I thought that was, that's to the task force.
We know Tricia does everything, but no.
She does.
She didn't do this.
Yeah. You are on the task force, though. Yes. I'm sorry, I just figured you did that, I'm sorry. Moving right on along, engagement letter with Barnes and Thornburg.
I have reviewed that and approved it. In case, from the legal standpoint.
I was good with that one myself. Is there any questions that you guys may have for Ann?
No, I have none.
Not, I'd entertain a motion on this, and this is on the,
Brian Collier makes a motion that we sign the engagement letter with Barnes and Thornburg.
motion by Mr. Collier to sign letter
Second.
with Barnes and Thornburg, seconded by Mr. Adams. All those in favor? Is there any further questions from the board or the audience? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Mrs. Parker, ordinance 2025-7, it's a rezone up in the Monroe Township area, I believe, off of Lynch
Unreal.
Tree Farm.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So you have in your handouts an ordinance for this rezone request that was brought to the Plan Commission on June 9th. They held their public hearing, and there was no one present to remonstrate. And the board voted 7-0 to forward to you a favorable recommendation to change the zoning from ag to R2. And this is for a 1-acre minor plat.
Any questions for Mrs. Parker?
It was an acre?
Yes. Which is why
That
they
was
need
what
the
they were
R2.
splitting out, yeah.
Not only, and you guys do this stuff, so I'm not familiar. I'm looking at the shape of that thing. And if that's an acre, it probably looks to me like it's probably about 300 foot long by 100 feet to are we, if they're gonna do a residential thing, they put it on there?
Yes, sir.
But with 1 acre, isn't there a restriction? I thought you had to have 2 acres.
You do if it's zoned ag.
Yeah,
You what?
If it's zoned ag, you do have to have 2 acres, but that's why they're asking for the R2 zoning, so they can just have 1 acre.
they're doing a minor plat where they could go up to 6, but they're only doing one additional.
Okay. I just was curious how that worked. Thank you.
It's pretty
Any further
common.
How much
questions?
space do you need for a septic?
They've
depends on
already
the-
done their soil tests, and
Yeah,
they know
so
they
it
can
just
get a
depends on
septic.
the soil to answer that question,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and they're good there.
And then one last question. Why would the Board of Commissioners ever vote against something like this?
It's a good question.
Well, just to, that's been in front of the,
Yeah, it's already passed.
Yeah,
So why
well,
would
it's
we
been-
ever trump it?
We do.
I know
the
this is a,
zoning.
huh?
They have final say on plating,
Right.
final, preliminary, everything. Commissioners have the final say on zoning, though, by IC code. It's got to come before us.
Yeah, 'cause zoning is an
I just don't know why
ordinance.
we'd ever go against the grain on, we
well, we
normally
probably
don't.
don't unless it gets
We-
where the vote is,
Since
you know,
97, I can
4
only
to
think
5,
of once or
then
twice that
we
ever
settle an
did.
argument.
That Kenny,
Right.
once or twice since
That's the way I
97.
look at it.
Okay, thank you. I don't have a problem with it.
I'd entertain a motion. If there's no more questions,
Ordinance 2025-7.
We got a motion by Mr. Adams to approve ordinance number
25-7.
2025-7. I'll second the ordinance. Any further questions from the board or from the audience? Not hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0, and thank you.
Thank you.
Professional service agreement. Sydney, she's doing our water study for us and helping us quite a bit. And I'd already talked to Deb, and I know she'd get a corrected version of this agreement already. Entertain a motion, if you guys are good with that.
I am, Brian Kyer, make the motion that we continue to use Volt Strategies and sign another year of the professional service agreement.
We got a motion by Mr. Collier, and I'll second the motion. Any further questions from the board or from the audience? Not hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. OU Health Department.
SE. Never gets old, not in my mind.
Hello, everyone. So tonight, we just have one MOU. It's for adult and child services. I think you guys are relatively familiar with them. Speaking of the mental health task force, they do a lot of mental health in schools. The local health department has been funding them in some capacity since the school year of 2022 to 2023. So going into school year 25 to 26 would technically be year 4 with them. So we've been funding them, again, for those mental health services in the schools. They are well integrated into Monrovia, Mooresville, and Martinsville. They're not in Eminence because Centerstone is in Eminence, so we're not ignoring Eminence. They just have a different provider. So they're in there to facilitate group support services. They make sure that Catch My Breath is completed with all of the well, I shouldn't say all of the students. They work in 9th grade in a couple of the schools, and then middle school and the other schools, I believe, to make sure that everyone gets Catch My Breath. We know how much of an issue vaping is right now with all of our teens. And then they work with the kids, the families, so it's not just the child, but they also work with the parents. They do wraparound services. They do a lot of really good things for the kids. And they're really helping with the staff as well. They do staff training, and then just any kids who are not really coping well in the classroom, adult and child gets to see them and tries to improve their coping skills and just their capacity for mental health. So, did you have any questions? Sorry for the
I'm
budget.
good with that one.
Now you have a visible one. I printed out the colored ones for you guys.
Any questions for Trish? Now I'd entertain a motion on this memorandum of understanding for the Boone County Health Department and Adult Care Health, Inc.
I'll move to approve it.
Got a motion by Mr. Adams. Do we have a second? I'll second. Mr. Collier seconds the motion. Any further questions from the board or the audience? Not hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And thank you so much, Trish.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trish.
You're down to park board discussion.
Correction to the April 21st minutes, or the clarification.
Need a motion just for clarification. They basically changed these 3 things. Basically, it was the April 21st meeting, the spelling on the one lady's name was wrong, and then she stated 2 government entities approved the daggone pumping of the fly ash into the river on Blue Bluff, in which actually it was only 2.
Well, you make a motion to approve them, so I think you would want to make a motion to amend them.
And Collier makes a motion that we go back and we amend the April 21st, 2025 minutes to reflect the corrections to the spelling of Ms. Dunphy's last name and the correct number of government agencies.
We got a motion by Mr.
Second.
Target to correct the corrections on the May 21st meeting. Mr. Adams second the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Park Board discussion.
Well, I think, I don't know where it should be on this meeting or be on the park board meeting. But we discussed at one point about the steps that we might consider taking for a park board that complies with the statute, that all the IC codes in section IC 3610.3.3. And I thought we probably ought to revisit that and see what direction we want to go with that. There's a lot of, I suppose not, more than anything else, I think there's a lot of statutory things that get involved here with a park board that's not the one that's functioning like we are. I'm not even sure, and I'm not even sure that the board that we're using is actually statutorily approved. Does that make sense? I mean, we have a park board. We kind of put one together because the park board that we had kind of had difficulty a few years ago. But I thought the park board that we have is it statutorily correct? Let's start with that.
So this is something that Josh and I have been working on in terms of where we are currently. You're asking me if we're statutorily correct right now?
Correct.
I don't know for sure, but I know that you have wanted to look into making absolutely sure that we are going to.
Well, I would say by statute, we can do, and we can function as commissioners over a department, whether we are by definition a
Over a park
board.
Right.
I would say we would probably fail by that definition, but I think we're totally within our power to be a commissioners over one of our departments. It's only if we want to branch out. Did you mention IC code 36-10-3? Is this what you've been reading?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought the question in front of me was if we wanted to form a park board, how would we go about it? I had not gone backwards to see what statutorily.
Okay, well, let's start with the kind of, and this is a discussion. I don't think we're going to be making any decision, but I want to find out, I think we need to kind of look at the options to see if we could do what we are doing better, or if we're doing it statutorily, period. Park boards are somewhat, that I won't say confusing, but you have municipal park boards, which my wife's a part of one, and you have county park boards, but they are structured totally different than what we are.
You got other park boards that are the three commissioners, but they was formed quite some time ago. And whether they was compliant with the old park board laws, I can't answer that. I'd have to do some research like Ann's gonna have to do.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the statute right now. Indiana Code 3610.3.4.2G, the board membership shall not consist of a municipal executive, a member of the fiscal body, a county executive, or a municipal fiscal body. So what I'm saying is what you were saying, like you can oversee the parks as a department as the commissioners. I don't think you guys can be a park board.
But this new law didn't come into effect till December 31st of 19. It got thrown out in July, and the commissioners have been running it since then.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said, Ken.
I said the new law come out in December 31st of 2019, right there, because this is a new law. The old park board law, that was dug, and you can go back and find it as well, because, I mean, it was different than these new ones, just a little bit, not much, but a little bit. But since the council threw it out in 2019, we didn't fall underneath these new ones yet. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not no attorney. She's the attorney, and she needs to.
Now, has there been much update? Does anybody know on Indiana code since 2022 to the park arena? Because that's what this is, a lot of mine's 2022.
Didn't know there was gonna be a pop quiz tonight. Sorry, folks.
After December 31st of 2019, there is no ordinance for the establishment of park board. Only the county commissioners are authorized to create the park board. Now, there was an ordinance before this one.
But I'm not worried
that was
before.
done before that.
I'm just making sure the stuff that I'm reading off of 2022 hasn't been trumped.
I can't answer that. This is the new one that Josh found, and it's probably one that you got for him, right?
Hold on a second. I'm just pulling up because there is a 2024 version, but I don't know what's been changed.
2024 version?
Never gets old.
Oh, my God. But I do believe the 2 or 3 counties that I know of, their park boards went in quite some time ago, and they're way ahead of us. And I'd say they didn't have to do a park board, because I know they have more control over being commissioners, and they like it that way. I'd say they probably went in when they didn't, they was able to, probably.
Well, I think it would behoove the 3 commissioners to divest of this responsibility and have a park board. 2, I think I don't want any more than 5 members. 3,
And I agree with that.
3, they need to be well-rounded, but they also ought to have a little bit of a track record that they have participated in park-type things, meaning they have an interest in it, or, you know, a school teacher that has kids that takes field trips, and something along those lines that tie it in. And we also have to, and this goes back to the legal side of it, where they understand that the director is a county employee and the employees are county employees, and why the directors or the park board can direct them in a direction. There are lots of labor laws and rules they have to follow. They don't have their own set of labor laws. They don't have their own set of HR. They've got, or we'll have to take through budget, we'll have to take their employees, we're right back where we started.
If you remember, Brian, because you was on the council when I was on there, and we brought park boards in 2003 or 4. Back then, the park board members were not able to be compensated.
Correct.
Underneath this new law, they are able to be
Compensated.
So, and I agree with you. If we're gonna have one, I am much more in favor of having a 5-member than a 7-member, and that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah,
That was kind of the problem with the one before. It kind of got out of control.
Yeah, I think that, I like the 5. I like the way it's done. It's pretty obvious, and that's maybe where we ought to look at our discussion right now. The statute has 2 from us, 2 from the council, and then 1 from another elected office, which we should probably decide. It doesn't
it used
say
to be
how
the
that's-
circuit court. How it got to the circuit court, I don't know.
They changed it under this version, so
Right.
I don't know.
Yes, that's changed in the 22
Yeah,
copy.
Matt always did it before, I thought.
It just has to be in another elected official, the way I'm
Another
reading
elected
it.
official, which could be the county surveyor, or anybody that's elected, correct?
Other than council commissioners, yes.
Yeah, it can't be us or him.
Because we got our 2 appointments each. so-
Right. So it doesn't define on who that would be. Am I correct?
Well, that'd be up to us to decide
We would
that.
get to pick the
Well, do we
office holder.
decide that?
Yes.
Who the elected
Yes.
official would be?
No, we decide that,
Yeah.
yes.
And then that elected official decides who it would be?
Who they want to pick.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, let's discuss a little bit about who that elected official would be, just pros and cons. Who do you think it ought to be?
Well, I can think of one elected official that's very involved in parks. I think it ought to be somebody that's involved in parks myself, but that's
Right.
just me.
Well, that they're,
I'd want to really think about it and see if there's any others that's,
yeah, I think we
Is
probably ought to have
involved,
that
I
discussion.
know the one is.
Pardon?
I said, I know there's one, but I can't think of
But
any
the
others.
problem
I
with
know
that.
Do I?
The problem with that, though, when they're no longer the elected official,
Then we'll just
Well,
pick somebody
I was
else.
gonna say, is the new, one coming in, do they want that would they want that responsibility? Would be-
Well, it wouldn't be
Well,
them on the board, it
they're
would be
not on
them
the
picking
board,
one.
they're
Them
just
on the board,
appointed,
But to
yeah.
appoint someone.
And I guess at
They
that
appoint
time,
somebody on the
if
board.
if that elected official doesn't want that responsibility, the commissioners at the time would just have to find another elected
Oh,
official.
yeah.
I would think
And
we'd want
it
somebody
don't have
that's,
to be somebody that's involved. I think it'd be nice if they're involved or at least care about parks.
right.
But I mean, it's up to the commissioners. I mean, it's whoever.
Could we, and this is just a, for instance, but could we, the elected official could be a judge, correct?
Be anybody
Anybody
that's elected,
That's elected.
Except for council commissioners, yes.
except for the sheriff, because I really don't like him.
County elected official, or could it be a municipal elected official within?
No,
I'd say
That'd be
county,
county.
yeah. As I say, we wouldn't have
Just
any.
wanted to clarify.
But is that statute, do we decide who that is?
Yes.
yeah, I understand we do.
That's how I
Where
read
does
it.
say that in the statute? It just says another elected official.
Well, who else would pick them?
Who else would pick them?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, the whole context
If it
that I
doesn't-
was,
guess
I don't think it
falls
came
upon
out.
the commissioners.
Right.
Leave that up to
But,
you.
I don't know if it, I don't remember because I read this 6 months ago.
Ann agrees that it would be us.
Yeah.
It would be us.
Still researching them on other stuff.
Well, I think we need to have a
He's
discussion.
probably just watching Netflix, but
That might be
Not.
administrative.
She's not, I can see it.
She's watching you guys on YouTube.
yeah.
Would it be, Ann or anybody, all you guys, would it be appropriate that that be in an administrative meeting? Because that's what we're trying to do, is make a decision on who's going to make a member of the park board.
Could discuss it probably, couldn't we?
You could
Couldn't do no
discuss it.
action.
You just couldn't take
discuss
a
it, you
vote.
just
I
can't
mean,
take any
it-
action.
No,
Yeah,
we couldn't
yeah.
make a vote, but we could have it.
We could narrow it
Discuss.
down to 3 offices and then we'd come out here and fight in public. So Keith will have something to write about.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so going back to your question, it says the creating ordinance may provide for one other elected county official. So since you guys are the people who would be creating the ordinance, you would be providing for that elected
Okay.
official.
If my LSAT wasn't so poor when I tried to get in. So jealous.
Table this to the executive meeting, or,
Yeah, I
Not
think it would be a
executive
good
meeting,
idea
just
to
our
table till
administrative
after we've
meeting.
discussed who that might
I
be.
just-
Then we have it.
Right,
kinda
and I
move
want to,
on.
I'd like to move on this sooner than later because I've talked to a couple people and they've expressed interest and I've told them to stand by and, you know,
I think it would be helpful to,
I mean, we only get 2 picks.
yeah, you get 2 and the council gets 2. The method of how we pick those 2 is, could vary. We could interview. We could probably just say, yeah, I think the interview system would probably be good. Make sure that these people that are going to go on the park board, that we appoint.
But before we would do any of that, not only do you have to give them the scope, but our vision. I mean, I'd like to appoint somebody that has a similar vision of where we'd like, because we're gonna take,
That's why I
we're
wanted-
gonna take the RAF, if their vision is to build block buildings in a wooded area, that's not gonna fit in, and we'll catch the wrath of that. We gotta have a similar vision, and then, because once this board is formed, we can only make suggestions, we don't dictate, we don't mandate.
No, and I checked, and I'm not, only people I've checked with basically is Hendricks County. I've checked with people who have gone away from a park board and put it back in the commissioners. And why would you want to do that? If we set it up correctly, I think you know, I don't want to have the commissioners, that way, if it gets to be, I had a brother-in-law that was the head of the park board in Washington State. And every time there was an election, he was vulnerable because whoever would get elected could replace him. And that doesn't make for a good situation. You got to keep kind of the political side out of it and let them have vision, but there's always, of course, budgets, and that always puts politics back in it. I mean, that's just the way it works.
But if the parks are a department, under the commissioners, then the director, I mean,
Well, they
That
pick the
direct-
director. The park board will pick the director,
but they are an employee of the commissioners, though.
but the park board
Yes,
picks the
but the
director.
park board picks them.
The head of the
park board
department.
picks
yeah,
the
head-
director.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, they are one of your department heads.
Yeah, they're not under our thumb.
That's the problem we had in the past, was the confusion between who's over that employee.
Well, wait till Brian gets back so we can kind of hit some more ideas. But I would like to move, I think Brian has made the comment that we want to divest ourselves as commissioners. And
You want to treat them like the soil and water, to where you contract with them, you budget, and you give them the money, and the soil and water board does their thing.
that would probably work.
Excuse me.
No, you're okay.
Yeah.
Board discussion, or you want to do it in administrative meeting and then
Let's
take
set up,
action
I
in
think I'd
public
like to
meeting?
set up a meeting here, and then I'd like to kind of find a way of getting some input from the public via the correspondent, where people that are interested in it can be, you know, I think we need a good story. We want to develop something that's going to be permanent and useful for the county. And, you know, that's the whole goal, is to put something together that's builds for the future.
Who looked up these 13 pages? Is this from you? Josh? Josh. Even when he's not here, he gives me work. Okay. Well, I don't even think that needs to be tabled, but we're on the same path.
Well, I think this is
discussion.
Table because you need to do an ordinance to do it, and I would have to draft an ordinance, and I don't
We're not
have
going to
one
vote
of
on
those,
anything
right.
tonight. We still have,
It's a discussion, and I think the discussion is we kind of decide that a few basic things that we want to basically have more of a discussion. And we want to divest ourselves as a Board of Commissioners to put a park board of some sort by statute. And how we develop that is, you know, we've got one basic option is who's going to be the elected official that's going to make an appointment. So we have to discuss that.
do you have a preference?
I haven't talked about it much, really. Yeah, I probably would if I.
Because I'll
you know-
probably vote against it, but I just didn't know who I was on vote against.
I have no,
Okay, you and I will discuss, and because I've got a lot of this hammered out. I'm ready to move.
all right, let's have a discussion as a, how do we do that, and it would be appropriate, that we would not be breaking any rules?
Just invite Keith over.
Well,
Do we have a
so,
public meeting, do we have an administrative meeting, or how do we do that?
so an administrative meeting to discuss your vision?
Yes.
I think you can discuss your vision in an administrative meeting.
I think that's what I want to do,
I think Keith doesn't want to sit here and listen to you think out loud.
right?
It's all according, are they gonna be making a decision?
No, they're not. They're not going to be making a decision.
No,
Because that's what I heard a little while ago, you wanted to decide something in the administrative meeting.
No, 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 no. They want to have
We
it,
have to take a lot on faith that nothing's going on behind the scenes. Unfortunately, I know all three of you guys up there very well. Our past history with park boards has not been good.
No.
We've had.
I think that's what's the problem, I mean, that's.
Hey, Keith,
That's the
for
elephant
this
in
to
the room.
succeed, your story has to get out there. Because there's only, well, we're up to 7 watching us. And thank you for all those who attended in person. So in a county of 72,000 people, 6, we got 13 people in the audience. And so the power of your ink will help direct and dictate the success of this board.
And,
Unfortunately, many people would read it and understand it, that's beside the point. The fact is, you're gonna have to get over that hurdle because what happened with the last park board was not good.
I concur. So we'll,
And I don't mind coming to your administrative.
we won't have any meetings, we won't even have an administrative meeting. I'm leaving for vacation here soon, and so when we come back, we'll set us a date, and we'll let you know, we'll advertise it. We'll meet right here, and anybody wants to sit in, can sit in. Then you've not broken, we're not gonna be voting on anything, and we won't be breaking any open door laws, because we can't get any more open than this right here. Kenny, you good with that?
I'm good with that.
Don, you good with that?
absolutely.
Entertain a motion to table this then.
So moved.
Got a motion, I'll second, Mr. Adams second the motion. Any further questions from the board or audience?
Well,
hearing-
we didn't really have to table anything, we're gonna continue the discussion.
Just tabling the discussion, I
But we
guess.
can we're gonna continue the discussion.
if we keep tabling it, it keeps showing up on our agenda and it'll
Well,
drive us
that's
nuts to get it done, so.
I always thought that's what tabling was.
Yes.
It's continuing the discussion.
Yes.
Kicking it down a little bit so you keep it on the agenda.
There was no official action to be taken, so I understand your point, Mr. Adams.
All those in
The
favor,
Discussion.
all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. 2026 holiday schedule. It's before you. I'm good with it the way it is. Gentlemen are, I'd entertain a motion on that.
Well, I've matched up every Friday, Monday to where you're not, you get Thursday off, but you gotta come back Friday type of, you got a Wednesday off, but I'm not that generous. And then I'm just thinking I'm just looking at January 2nd. Who's gonna come to work on that Friday? I will make a motion that we adopt this, but I'm gonna tell you guys, when we get into budget hearings, I make a concession and look at January 2nd, because if you're gonna give me January 1st off on Thursday, I'm probably not coming back on January 2nd. And there's nothing worse than half people here and some people here and not here and nothing getting done.
PTO.
I get it, but it might be in lieu of,
understand.
with Senate Enrolled Act 1, I don't see pay raises coming.
Probably not.
I agree with you.
New Year's in 27 is on a Saturday.
So I'll second that we approve that we understand that there might be an adjustment, especially on,
We got a motion and a
just
second
gonna
to
vote for this as
approve
is,
it
then
with
we'll-
the understanding there could be a different change later down the road after budgets. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. For the good of the cause, Mr. Adams.
Well, I've been thinking all day about that.
No, it's not, it's on.
Guess I had two experiences lately that helped me understand why I live here. First of all, I don't know how'd the concert go. Did they have the concert last night?
Got it on Friday in June?
I heard that.
It was good. It was loud, but it was good.
I didn't, it didn't. Anyway, what I was going for, I had a friend out of the county. Wanted to know how the weather was, and I got that, but I didn't get to find out anymore. No, sounds kind of silly, but the more I'm away from this, the more I want to come back. You know, I was up in Marion County today and started trying to make it back down here in the time that the Waze said I could make it, and I looked up ahead, and there's a line of traffic that goes from here to the courthouse, and I'm thinking, I don't know about you guys back there in the sheriff's department, but I wouldn't want to deal with all this craziness up that they've got traffic-wise and everything else. It's just, we're blessed with beauty and I guess you'd say peacefulness that I don't get. Have a friend that, well, his cousin actually got a job and she had moved to Brownsburg. Her job went to Brownsburg and she is miserable because you got to drive that every day instead of, it's just crazy. We're blessed. That's just what I just can't hardly understand. I don't want anybody to keep coming down here and seeing it because pretty soon we won't be blessed. I mean, I like growth, but boy, you can't beat what we've got. And I'm not going to say I'm against growth, but I don't want to see what I've seen up in some parts of the county, this country. It's just, it's not fun. That's why people come here.
Entertain a motion for adjournment then.
I'd like to go on record. Is this from 1937? Findings of our engineer from 1937. We find that no damages, this is about building a new road, so the more things change, the more they stay the same. But I can't imagine putting this in actual minutes, but in our minutes from 1937, we find that no damages on account of the construction of said highway will occur to any minor, idiot, or lunatic. Just, you can tell things have changed and the board's had to have a lot more sensitivity training. And I'm done. Did we make a motion? We
Yeah,
did
you
in a
did.
second.
I'll
All in favor, move.
Take care of that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you for coming, and thank you to the 7 people that were on the internet.
How many?
7 on the internet.
Oh, my goodness.
There's asking for 1 initials. Who, this the chair?